The following research is brought to you by the Conscious Evolution Institute of Hormone Replacement Therapy. For more information, visit www.hgh.tv. What is melatonin? Melatonin is a hormone that is released by the pineal gland, which encourages sleep and helps to preserve the natural human circadian rhythm. Melatonin is also produced by animals and many plants. Human beings are naturally designed to be awake during daylight and to become sleepy once the sun goes down. This is because we are diurnal creatures. Although the average person sleeps 8 hours per night, we have just begun to really understand why we sleep and the process behind it in recent years. Although we have been keenly aware of this connection between light and dark and the sleep cycle, we are only now becoming aware of the mechanisms which promote this cycle, and melatonin is one of the keys to this cycle. It is used to believe that melatonin was the primary mechanism which controlled the circadian rhythm. But today, it's actually clear that melatonin is the tool that the body uses to change the body's physiological patterns to induce sleep, as controlled by the central nervous system. How do light and dark promote patterns of wakefulness? Our brains actually process the presence of the absence of light through the eyes in order to send information to the brain regarding the sleep cycle. The eyes absorb light, and this information passes from the eyes to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus has a particular region known as the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which reacts to the sunlight and other factors in order to either promote a state of wakefulness or sleepiness by manipulating body temperature, hormone release, and other factors which promote a normal sleep cycle. Think of the suprachiasmatic nucleus as a clock. Under normal circumstances, human beings usually wake up around the same time each day, and the appearance of sunlight plays a central role in establishing that set pattern. For example, when the suprachiasmatic nucleus senses sunlight, it responds by promoting the secretion of cortisol and increasing ambient body temperature. In addition to this, the suprachiasmatic nucleus also suppresses the release of melatonin, a hormone which encourages the body to go into a deep state. Once the sun goes down, the body stops suppressing melatonin release, which encourages sleepiness. Melatonin is often taken as a supplement in order to promote sleep. This can be effective for many patients, but should only be used for a brief period of time because long-term use can affect the body's hormone patterns. Of course, anyone that experiences significant issues with sleep should talk to a professional in order to get the appropriate treatment. But for mild or temporary sleeplessness, melatonin is often a fine option. Where does the body make melatonin? Melatonin is produced by the pineal gland, which is about the size of a bean, and it is situated in the central portion of the brain. Under normal circumstances, the pineal gland does not produce melatonin during the day, but as the sun goes down and the suprachiasmatic nucleus no longer receives sufficient light signal, this causes the body to start producing melatonin. After the pineal gland produces melatonin, it immediately begins to circulate through the bloodstream. For people with normal sleeping patterns, this generally happens about 9 o'clock at night. This is why a couple hours after the sun falls down, you naturally enter a state of sleepiness, which inhibits your alertness and causes you to seek out a comfortable place to rest. Once the body starts to release melatonin, it will continue to do so until sunlight, when melatonin levels will drop, encouraging wakefulness until around 9 o'clock in the morning, when the pineal gland completely deactivates and the melatonin production halts. During the day, the body produces almost no melatonin. Of course, time is not the only factor with regard to melatonin. Light is also important. If it is appropriate time but the body still senses bright light associated with daytime, then the pineal gland will be activated but will not produce melatonin. In many cases, light produced indoors, especially white light with a lot of blue waves, will be interpreted by the brain as sunlight. This is why it's important to turn off computers and televisions about an hour before bed in order to promote healthy sleep cycle. Melatonin is produced by the liver and it is filtered quickly. 90% of melatonin is processed by the liver for the first time it passes through the organ. How much melatonin does the body release at night? Dependent on a wide variety of factors, different people will produce different levels of melatonin. There does not appear to be a strong correlation between age and melatonin production, where children produce the greatest concentrations of melatonin and other adults produce less over time. This is both why children tend to sleep longer and deeper and why adults tend to sleep for shorter periods of time. Older adults that have issues sleeping produce less melatonin than their peers on average. Thank you for viewing our video. This research was brought to you by the Conscious Evolution Institute of Hormone Replacement Therapy. For more information, visit www.hgh.tv.